Good evening. Hello, how are you doing? Listen, I want to give you a short video here on showing you how to set up WordPress on AWS, on Amazon AWS using Bitnami. A lot of people have said to me, can you help me set up WordPress? And while I'd love to jump on and help everybody when they ask for help, I think the best thing to do is just show you how to do it yourself. You can literally run a WordPress or a whole bunch of WordPress sites for about £7 or £8 a month in total for all of the websites together, if you're willing to learn a little bit about Azure or AWS. In this video, I want to talk about AWS. So let's get started. Now, I have a spanking new clean AWS console set up here, and I have literally nothing in it. So the first thing you want to do is find an EC2 instance. Now, a little tip here, when you search up here from the top, you get the different services listed. If you add a little, let me just bring full screen here for a second. If you add a little star, click the little star there, that'll come up on the top up here and you can see those services. You can get back to that page a little bit easier. Okay, so if I go into EC2 services, look at the dashboard, you can see there's nothing listed at all. There's no instances running. So what we want to do to set up WordPress in 5 minutes, let's see if we can do this in 5 minutes, is that we want to launch a new instance. Launch a new instance, first step. And now what we want to do is we want to search for WordPress. So go down to Application and OS Images and search for WordPress. Okay, once you do that, it'll first look in the quick start, and when it can't find it there, it'll jump over to the marketplace. And we want to pick the first one here, which is the WordPress certified by Bitnami and automatic. Click that first one, and you get a little bit of information about it, including its usage. There's some useful information here that you want to read about in usage, such as the WordPress login is called user. So we're just going to go ahead and click continue. And that's going to bring us to our different types we have here. Now, there's a little notice here which is very important, which is the free tier is available if you choose the T2 micro instance size. So I'm going to go over here to the instance. It says T3 small at the moment. So what we're going to do is we're going to change that to, we're just going to search for T2, and you see micro there coming up. So that's the free tier eligible one. That means that we will actually get this for free for the first year. Not only is it less than £7 a month, if you set up a new account, you'll get you'll get it for free for the first year if you're happy with using one CPU. That's just using one CPU and 1 GB of memory, which is enough to get a basic WordPress site up and running. If you're going to have a lot of traffic, you need a little bit more, but we're going to just assume it's very simple. So that everything else we just keep as the defaults, and we'll click on launch instance. Now it'll ask you to create a new key pair now. So I'm going to give it a new key pair. I'm going to call this MacBook because I'm going to use this on my MacBook mostly, and just create the defaults for everything else. So this is like your password file for logging in. It's your computer password file. It's the public key to the private key that allows you to log into the server. You will need that later on. Everything else I'm just going to leave as is. I'm going to launch the instance. It's going to create all the different pieces it needs to. It's going to spin up the machine and going to give us a chance to log in. So that's that done. I'm going to go back to the main screen now, and you'll see there's a new instance that's appeared here. There's a few things you need to get from this. First of all, click on it, and there's two things you want to just note. I'm going to just open up Notepad here, and I'll pull it away for a second. And the first thing you want is you want the public IP address. So if you click on the public IP address, little copy button there, you can copy that. You can see my one is here. I've just copied it up here like that. And then second of all, what you want to do is get your public DNS name, which is effectively the name for that same IP address. This is how you're going to connect to your web server. So that's mine there, and we'll be changing that later on. Nothing else is really needed at this stage. You just need to wait for the instance to actually get created. Now, okay, so I've given this a few minutes to boot up. And now if you go into our instance, I've got our instance here selected. We go to Actions, Monitor, Get System Logs. We're going to see all the information from the system logs. And if you search down through this, you're going to find the username and password you need to log into the server. So obviously I'm going to blur this out. but you can see the password is here. I'm going to copy that and keep that as well. And the user is user. So once we've got all that information, we've got everything we need to actually connect to our server. So all that's left to do now is to log into our new WordPress site. So open a new page, paste in the public IP address or the public DNS name, and there's our new WordPress website waiting for us. We log in by adding WP admin to the actual path of the website. That brings us to the login. We're going to type user as the username. We're going to copy the password that we got from the system logs and paste this in here, and then we've logged in. All that's left to do now is to set up WordPress exactly the way you want. So that's what we're going to do in the next video. So make sure you subscribe and follow along with the next step, which is going to focus on going into the plugin section and getting rid of all the plugins that we don't need, adding the plugins that we do need, and starting to make the website look very different to the way it looks right now, and to customize it to exactly what we need. That's all for in this video. Hopefully speak to you in the next video. Did I make 5 minutes? Let's find out.